Coming up on this episode of Design to the Nines, I had a really hard time narrowing it down, but I've got my top 10 DIY projects of 2019 for you, plus my plans for 2020. So if that sounds good to you, stay tuned. Welcome to Design to the Nines. I'm Natalie Callahan, and if this is the first time we're meeting, welcome to my channel. I'm really excited today to share with you my top 10 favorite episodes of 2019. We had a lot of fun. Now, these are in no particular order. They're not even in chronological order. And it was really hard for me to pick my top 10 favorite because I put a lot of time and effort and heart into each episode. And so narrowing it down to my top 10 favorite babies, well, that was a little hard. You'll have to let me know in the comment section below if this lined up with your top 10 list and which was your favorite episode of the year. This will help me going forward in 2020. Now, you're going to want to stick with me to the very end because I am going to be sharing with you my plans for 2020. So let's get started. So my first one that I'm going to share with you is my front porch makeover. Now, I did a lot of front porch decorating projects this year, but this was like the main one where I switched out my light fixture, taking it from a recessed light to a pendant light. I really liked that. We also made the welcome sign with the interchangeable wreath that I've been able to change out for each and every season. Right now it has kind of a wintry wreath on it, but it's also had pumpkins. And for the bulk of the year, it will have a boxwood wreath. So that was a really fun sign to make and really inexpensive. I always try to stretch the dollar as far as possible on my projects, and this was no exception. It also included my DIY bench build, which wasn't in that episode, but another really good one. A lot of the episodes that I'm going to be sharing with you had multiple projects in them. Some of them had one big project and others had several smaller ones. Another thing I liked about my front porch project was the double layer rug look with the buffalo plaid underneath the regular mat. So much fun. I had a lot of fun with this episode, and I always have a fun time decorating my front porch, and so stay tuned for more of those in the future. Next up was a really popular project this year, which was my DIY farmhouse lantern. So what inspired me for this project was I'd seen a few of these on YouTube and other places that were built mostly out of Dollar Tree items, but they didn't come across very sturdy. Well, I wanted something that would stand the test of time, stand my kids beating on it a little bit. And so I decided to spend just a little extra money than the original projects, not much more, and get something that was way sturdy. And I did this by getting an exterior newel post that you would use as railing on a deck. And that saved some money over buying something from the interior, which would have been significantly more. So it just gave it a little bit more of a rustic feel, but you can sand that down, or you can go to a thrift store if you're lucky and have a good one. I haven't found one here in the Orlando area yet, but you could find like a thrifted or an antique newel post and build it out of that. That would be really cool. So what we did is we took this sturdy post, we added a sturdy base with like some decorative elements to kind of give it really that authentic lamppost feel. And then I took a very large lantern that I picked up and we drilled it right into the newel post. And I can tell you, this is a decor piece that will be around for a long time. I love it. I love how it turned out, and it's sturdy. It's everything that I had hoped for, and I just loved this project. And you guys did too, so thank you for the support on that video. Next up was a Pottery Barn knockoff of a barrel top Lazy Susan. It was awesome. I loved it. I didn't like the price, so I set out to recreate this for a fraction of the cost. I went out and found a pre-made tray that was just the right size and look and feel. I got it, I think, at Hobby Lobby. And then I needed to kind of transform it into that wine barrel top with the monogram. Now, this one I had to really get my creative juices flowing to kind of come up with a solution that had that kind of galvanized steel that wrapped around the top. I went into Home Depot and I found some strapping that they have on their packaging, and they gave it to me for free because they just use it to kind of load some of their items. I don't know, it was just like shipping stuff, but it was still that galvanized steel. And I walk you through this process in the episode, but it really worked out well. And then it came to the monogram part. I tried different types of wood burning and nothing was really working out. And then I tried several different types of image transfer processes, which I ultimately went with one of those, and it got a really good look. Having said that, just a few months later, I found scorch markers. If I would have known about this when I did the wine barrel top, I totally would have used the scorch markers to burn that monogram on. But so far, that monogram is holding up really well. I'm really happy with it. And I get to look at this piece every day. And I'm really proud of how it turned out. It's beautiful and I love it. It's one of my favorite projects of the year. Number 4 was my DIY backsplash that I did in my kitchen. Now, this was kind of a beast to tackle. It was a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie, but it was probably one of the most rewarding projects of the year. I've tiled other backsplashes before, but this one was a different type of tile. Now, I love Subway backsplashes. I have them in other homes. I've done them before, but this kitchen didn't really feel like a Subway tile type of kitchen. It has really dark, kind of ebony colored cabinets and like a gold and dark colored granite existing. So what I settled on was this beautiful white arabesque tile that had this gorgeous gold trim that was just beautiful. But it was a little bit different shape than I've been used to working with and kind of had curves. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but we figured it out. Now the kitchen has this very finished feel. It has a little sparkle that catches the light. If I can do a tile backsplash, you can do a tile backsplash. It's challenging and it's a very time consuming, but if you take a step back, breathe, and really take your time, you too can do a DIY tile backsplash in your kitchen and save thousands and thousands of dollars. If you're thinking about doing a tile backsplash, you're definitely going to want to check out this video because I walk you through step by step how to do a tile backsplash, and I'm hoping that it will inspire you and teach you what you need to do your own tile backsplash. All right, next up we have an episode that not very many of you have watched, but I still wanted to include it on this list because it was my favorite to do. It was a blast to put together, and that was my Pottery Barn Kids knockoff of a Star Wars marquee sign, and I had a little help from a little special green visitor, and that was a really fun episode to put together, and in my opinion, probably one of my best knockoffs. It was really close, and I made it for about 10% of the cost. Even if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, which I wasn't until little baby Yoda came along and changed my mind. He's so cute. I just love him. I'd still recommend watching this because not only is it a fun episode, but it also, you could take the ideas and principles in it and translate it to something that really works for your decor. It's gonna go in my son's room. That's gonna be coming up in the future. Stay tuned to the end and then I will let you know what my plans are for 2020. Number 6, this was an awesome jam-packed episode, and that was my 10 last-minute DIY gifts that people actually want. Now, this episode has 10 ideas that I'm featuring in it, and that episode had 10 ideas in it, and a lot of these episodes that I'm featuring have multiple ideas in it, so you are hopefully going to come out of this episode so inspired and with ideas. Even though I did it in the Christmas season, these gifts and these ideas could be gifts for yourself. They could be gifts for somebody else, but they are good any time of year. That episode has everything from a rice heat pack to customized monogrammed votive mercury jars to customized, customized coasters. And my favorite DIY from that episode was probably the recipe that was in my grandmother's handwriting, and we transferred it on to a cutting board, And it's just because that was really meaningful. Having something that's long lasting like that, that has your grandmother's or mother's or aunt's handwriting on it, that is going to be something that would become an heirloom and could stand the test of time and be passed down. That was my favorite DIY of the episode. They're gifts made with love, and that was the whole point of that episode. I think you'll like it. Number 7 is this very desk that we are sitting at right now. It was a Pottery Barn knockoff of the Bedford Project table, and we did it for about 10% of the cost, and it was really quite easy to put together in the whole scheme of things. All I did was buy some store-bought shelves that have like the square cubbies and use those for the 2 end pieces, and then we put a top on it. Now that's a little oversimplifying it, but it was pretty simple to put together, and again, we saved over like $1,100. It was massive savings, and this is a huge table that will be a permanent fixture in my studio here that we'll be doing DIY projects on, and it's a great size for that. If you're thinking you need a craft table, this would be a really good episode for you. Even if you don't have a lot of building skills, you could handle this one, and so check that out. Okay, so when we bought this house, we bought this house furnished. Now, I've had some people comment and be like, why would you do that? That's such a waste of money. And I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but we actually left our home in Maine furnished, and when we moved here, we had nothing. And so we were really looking for something that was kind of furnished. Unfortunately, we loved this house. I didn't love almost all of the furniture in it, so I'm trying to work with what I've got. Most of the furniture in here is from IKEA. Now, there's nothing wrong with IKEA. It just kind of had more of a modern flair than I particularly like. In this episode, I did an IKEA hack on some dressers that were a little too small to actually be dressers, but were a perfect size to be like a large nightstand. And what I did was I added some trim and some mirrors and some sparkly knobs, and they are much more traditional, a little bit glitzy, a little bit rock and roll. So I really loved this episode because it took something that was really sleek, really kind of generic looking, and really glammed it up, and it was not a ton of money. And now I have some nightstands that I actually really love. One that didn't quite make the list that I also made over was my dining room set, which was an awesome project too, but I could only pick 10. It was so hard. What I hope that you take from this episode is that if you have a piece of furniture that you don't like, transform it, give it a new look, and it might just be something that you really, really love in the end. Number 9 was my DIY farmhouse chandelier that I built from tuna cans and cookie sheets from the Dollar Tree. First off, it was a knockoff of a Ballard Designs chandelier that was like $600, and I built it for 10% of the cost. Yes, it wasn't actually electrical, but it had functioning lights and candles on it. So you didn't have to wire that, but we got ultra creative cutting apart Dollar Tree cookie sheets and using some empty tuna cans. Oh, and some dog chains from Dollar Tree. So the things that we used to put this chandelier together were completely off the wall, yet it really has a high-end designer look and really adds a lot. And I actually hung this outside on my outdoor patio area, but it would work inside as an indoor chandelier as well. This episode just goes to show you that you can really think outside the box, and this one will hold up. It's pretty solid. When it was all said and done, it was awesome. I love this episode. Now hold on with me because I actually decided to do a bonus one because I had such a hard time narrowing it down to just 10. Bonus! But number 10 is my extreme Christmas bedroom makeover that I did just last month. What I really love about this episode is my bedroom was so boring, so vanilla, and it feels like we as adults always put ourselves last, and we really should invest a little time and effort into our bedrooms because that's where we spend a lot of time. Yes, granted, we are sleeping in it, but there is some decompression and relaxing time in there. And so to create a place that makes you feel cozy and relaxed is really important. I put a holiday twist on it, so coming up pretty soon, we're gonna do a little refresh on the room to give it kind of like an everyday feel. In this episode, I talk a little bit about when it's important to invest some money and when it's important to save. If everything is cheap, then it kind of all sort of looks cheap. But if you splurge a little here, save a lot there, then everything together kind of has that really nice designer look, and you've saved a lot of money along the way, and that's my goal on here. My bonus one, if you will, number 11, we'll call it, was my Magnolia cake stand knockoff. You guys really loved this episode, and we knocked off a Magnolia cake stand, a wooden one, and it turned out really close to the original. So in this episode, I had to think outside the box again, and we created metal scalloped edge by using popsicle sticks. And what was nice about it is this definitely has a farmhouse vibe. Obviously, since we were knocking off Magnolia, it's gonna have a little bit of it. But the metallic edging kind of gave it a little fun punchiness. Now my plans for 2020, I don't know, 2020 for me just feels like it's gonna be an awesome year. I'm so excited for it. I've got a lot of fun things planned. We're gonna continue to do knockoffs. We're gonna do some more room makeovers. We're gonna continue to teach you how to use power tools and not be intimidated by them. And we're getting an equipment upgrade, so hopefully the video quality and the audio quality will continue to improve, because this is my baby and you guys are my community, and I want to improve the experience for you and continue to bring you quality content that doesn't waste your time. I'm not gonna tell you too much more because I want you to watch. With that being said, here's the playlist that I promised you with all of the episodes that I've referenced here on this episode today. Enjoy it. Watch them all, they're awesome. So we'll see you next week. Have a good day, bye.